Welcome to the station, crew. Enjoy your stay.
Alright. Welcome back to Space Station 14. This will be another round taking place on Wizard's Den's Lizard server. This time around, it's gonna be a series of events, basically. So we skipped power setup. First thing that we get assigned to is apparently there's something to repair around here, I think. As you can see, multiple engineers have been called to it. An anomaly was critically activated and spawned a bunch of monsters. But thankfully we have the head of security here to help us out. I check around and I find more monsters. I try and say something, but these slimes are made of chemicals, and it seems one of those chemicals is some kind of mute chemical. Also, I try and pretend to be dead so they leave me alone, but the NPCs don't... They know that you're alive, so pretending to be dead for NPCs doesn't really work. Anyway, because of the poison, we pass. They will get better eventually. Anyway, so next thing, we get healed, and today's plan was... This was supposed to be part of my Vigord launcher plan, but things went awry quite quickly. So first things first, I'm looking for a mass scanner to see where the Vigord is so I can build a launcher towards it. However, we're going to be seeing something else instead. Boop. I can see over here near the trade station that there's a giant derelict, which I'm curious to explore, and also I just can't see where the Vigord is, so that plan is out of the question. So we're going to do a bit of manual space travel by just launching ourselves vaguely towards where we're supposed to go. After the slime incident, I built a bat just in case, because I would like to not be dead again. And now we float. It is a relaxing, it's a little, a little detour from whatever's going on station, which I think was nothing, I think. Nothing that I know of. We're just gonna take a small break to do some exploration. It is calming too. Not that we had much stress, apart from that one slime thing. Anyway, we start throwing things to propulse ourselves a bit, and we can see that we made it. I think. That's the ruins of the the debris, whatever. Wonder why mysteries lie ahead. Spoiler alert. Actually, I don't need to spoil. Here's a cut to afterwards. We found nothing. Obviously, we weren't the first to get there. Salvage was here before us, and they took all the interesting things. The best I could find was a combat knife, which I dropped because my bat was better than that. So we make it back on station, and we can see that there's some broken glass around the place, which I'm gonna wall up, because if glass breaks, put a wall. It probably will be stronger. Anyway, as we make our way towards engineering to resupply on stuff, I can see that there seems to be some air troubles. Namely, over here, this scrubber is set on panic mode, which is usually a sign that the AI has gone evil and is trying to suffocate you all to death. But maybe, just maybe, there was like a plasma leak or a really bad gas in this room or something. To my mind, Atmospherics was killed, I think, somewhere in that time. So I'm gonna go ahead and start hacking air alarms so we can fix these scrubbers sucking out all the air. We don't have access, so we have to hack it open and cut the access wire. And because I suspect the AI to be evil, I'm also going to be cutting the AI controls.
Attention.
So anyway, we set it to fill, which should override the scrubber, but it wasn't set. Usually you have to set the panel to purge to do that, but it was only set to filtering, which means probably what's going on right now is that somebody has manually linked all the scrubbers to like another air alarm somewhere, and is using it to control all the scrubbers that they've linked. So this is only going to be a temporary fix, most likely. But I haven't realized that just yet. As you can see, I'm still thinking that the AI is doing it.
Attention.
Anyway, we keep going around the station, trying to find all these scrubbers that have been hacked, and repressurize the place. As you can see, pretty much everybody everybody that's alive is in EVA suits, and the others are dead. Anyway, I'm thinking that we might need to head to atmospherics to sort out some of these issues. And also, oh yeah, I'm checking the pressure. Since I don't have a gas analyzer, the easiest way is to just take off your helmet and see how things are going. Anyway, so I start heading to atmospherics to see if I can pump out more air. Also over here we can see another scrubber that's been sabotaged. The head of security says they're gonna find the issue, which I'm not impressed with because I'm not finding the issue, and having access won't really help because I'm currently hacking for access and it's not helping that much. As you can see, I'm looking for the air alarm of this room. Always make sure to cut the air wire because I still think that the AI is the most likely culprit. And now we head to atmospherics. One of the scientists has passed out from the spacings. It's attacking a door, but thankfully atmospherics inside opens it up for us. And now we check all the pipes, see if they're just missing air. The pressures could be upped a bit, since we need to repressurize the entire station. But the rest seems mostly fine. The chief engineer gives an emergency broadcast. And on the side over there, the anomaly that the research director was trying to stabilize blew up his ape. So now he can't. Anyway. So I'm thinking that we, as you can see here, I'm at a place that I've fixed the scrubber, but it's back to being purge mode, and because I cut the AI wire, I know it's not the AI who did it. So we're gonna go for an even faster solution, which is to weld all the scrubbers. Means that if somebody wanted to sabotage the scrubbers, now they'd have to unweld them and relink them. So quick fix, just weld all the scrubbers. We don't need to scrub the air anyway. Unless there's bad gas, but right now there's no gas, so that's better than nothing. So we're gonna go around welding all the scrubbers we can find. All the public ones, or at least all the ones that are on in the purge mode. Which should fix the issue. Mostly, kind of. I'm hoping that the other engineers are going to be also doing that. Here you can see the scrubber is not being reset to purge mode, but we still need to put some air in here, and I'm just going to weld it just because. Thankfully some welding fuel passes by, so I can refuel and keep going. I'm going to focus on all the public halls, so we can repressurize the public halls and use that to repressurize all the other rooms, like medical. But it does mean that, as I've noticed, I've left the bar's scrubber on purge, which means they're probably going to be killing all the kitchen staff and the bartender. So we'll be going back there later, once everything is stabilized, to try and see the damage. Anyway, I can see here that medical seems to be stable. The other engineers, or somebody, had the idea also to weld all the scrubbers shut. And this seems to be fixing the issue, mostly. However, there is going to be more stuff coming up. That's engineering work, pretty much accomplished. We're going to have to go all over our rivals, too. However, there is a ninja on station, and they've just called in a dragon. So that's going to suck. Because that dragons usually eat the walls to space and suck out all the air. And usually you have to wait until it's dead before you can repair the damage, because it can just keep eating the walls. And also it's very dangerous. So I look around for all the scrubbers that are unwelded, and I'm gonna take my time welding them all. I just see that the arrival place also has been sabotaged. So we fix it to one scrubber at a time. There we go. That'll help. And you get the idea. I'm going to be doing a couple of, like, a patrol of the station, seeing if we've missed anything, and then head to the bar to help out.
As a precautionary measure, the station's power will be shut off for an indeterminate duration.
Eventually. At some point. Anyway, after we've been doing all that, plus the bar and stuff, now the dragon is on station near medical. And I do want to keep the air inside, so I'm thinking of either paying a visit, or at least trying to move to security, because I think they're arming the crew. And we head towards the armory. It seems to be on emergency access, and there's some guns left. Lasers, shotguns. I can see over there an assault rifle, which I'm gonna try and grab while I'm blinded. Actually, there's 2 assault rifles left. So I pick up one, but unfortunately I am stuck in here. I could hack the door open, but that will take quite a long time. So instead I see if I can call the AI to help me out. Using this here holopad, which is really the only use you get out of this thing. At least the most common use, I would say. Very good to get the AI's attention. Not so much to get other people's attention. We get let out. Now that we have a rifle, I feel more confident going towards the dragon to try and repair the damage. Where is the dragon's path? Also, there's more air to be filled in here, so we do that. Boop. So we look around. I'm trying to get everybody to stick together because we're going to be safer in groups. As a rule of thumb. As we head towards the center, I can see that there's a dropped weapon on the ground. The head of security's submachine gun, a very useful gun because you can use it one-handed, which means you can have something else in your other hand. So I try and give it back to the security personnel because they can get the ammo for it. And while the other the other equipment you could use in another hand. Yeah, we head back and I can see the dragon right there. So we spook each other. I try helping out. Because I have engineering access, I can open these airlocks, these fire locks on my own. With just the click of a button. At this point, I kind of given up on the repairing the damage. You can see all the air alarms here are doing good, so there's not much spacing. Kind of, maybe. The dragon shows up. To avoid getting crossfired, I try and start crawling. However, that doesn't mean that I am ignoring the damage I'm taking from the fire currently. The engineering suit is resistant to fire, but it's not immune to fire, so we survive, but we take a lot of damage. We need some health, and we're near medical, so I'm gonna try and head into the med bay, which is actually spaced. Try and see if they can find some burn medicine, and over here we can see there's a burn medicine jug, so I drink a little help. We head back out. Trying to make my way to evac, I think. Anyway, a fish comes around. It's a player-controlled fish, so they aren't AI attracted to me. But because I've taken some medicine and the medibot helped me out by giving me some drugs, we should be able to recover from this. And the fish is trying to take cover next to me, so we can finish him off. Here we can find the captain's laser. We found the captain's rifle, the captain's sword earlier. We're not in condition to try and close the portal because we'd have to stay next to it and bash it for a while. So I just dump my gun for somebody else to pick up. We say to head to evac. We're not in any conditions to help anyone else. We're already quite slowed by our wounds and our engineering suit. However, we do have the Captain's Infinite Laser Gun pistol. Once again, it's also a one-headed pistol, and it has infinite ammo as it's self-charging. So it's quite useful. And we can fit it inside of our pocket. Anyway, we make it on the evac shuttle after having to fight our way through basically the entire station. Mostly against the dragon stuff. So we deconstruct our way into medical using the RCD, which is a very, very, very powerful tool, I gotta say. Can build and deconstruct most things. The only problem is that it's very limited. We hack our way to the medical vendor. We can hear some fighting, but we're in no condition to do much. So we're trying to focus on healing. I'm gonna try and heal my burns first. Because it could help. Maybe. You're trying to give me a knife, which is nice because I can then cosplay as a captain, maybe. We got a laser. We got a knife, which can serve as the sword. We're hiding somewhere. Almost like a real captain. Anyway. The burns seem to be pretty much taken care of, so now we switch on to our actual wounds from the fish, mostly. I think. We haven't lost too much blood, so that's not an issue. We might be slightly irradiated, maybe. Just a bit. And we're getting better. Good enough to walk at normal speed. And to maybe fight. Though I wouldn't, like... I wouldn't if I couldn't. I wouldn't do it if I could avoid it. What we really need to do is prevent the dragon from getting onto the evac shuttle. And the dragon dies. Which means if we can get it aboard the evac shuttle, we can cut it open and get all the bodies inside of it. So, we take it over to the medical bay. And we cut it up. Boop. And as you can see, there's a lot of bodies in there. More than usual. I can count 10, 30, 40 bodies, I think, in total, if I remember right. Basically, half the station was eaten by this dragon. We have to try and find the people whose bodies were eaten somewhat recently and who still have souls. To try and revive them. And sort out all the rotten people who can't be revived. At least not on this evac shuttle. We gotta get these supplies inside this locker to help out. And thankfully we have an infinite ammo gun, so we can just gun it down. But before we get anybody back up and running, we'll be arriving at evacuation and finishing the round. Boop! So yeah, this was a pretty intense, at least it started, it was a decently intense round, from slimes to space exploration to engineering issues and dragons. And it was pretty fun, I gotta say. It was quite fun. Anyway, see you guys next time. Okay, bye, okay, bye, okay, bye, okay, bye.